came together in a wrong symphony. It was a disastrous symphony which started creating from the last 20 years.
In fact, one can call it a fatigue coming out of after a revolution, because normally it always happens. So there we can draw a very interesting lesson from Mao Zedong, who said that revolution cannot be a one-time effort. We need to have a continuous revolution. Probably he was referring to a social revolution.
Correct.
But maybe in agriculture, probably also we could have learnt with that and probably would have continued, not just be self-complacent, but could have continued with that. Doctor, tell me today, as you very correctly just pointed out, that what is happening today is there were all good things happen at the same time. But today it seems like the Rahu and Ketu and everybody, all planets are coming together and conspiring against all the farming community of the country. So basically, is it something that we really need to now reinvent ourselves and try to think about a different type of revolution? You always describe it as an evergreen revolution. So therefore I
coined the term evergreen revolution because some people call second green revolution, third green revolution. I say this is not a motor car, 2008 model, 2007. We need evergreen revolution in the sense. Green revolution, again, go back, is improvement of production through productivity improvement, yield per hectare. That is the only thing which is valid of our country, because small farm size, they have to produce more. But that should be done without ecological harm, environmental harm. That's why I coined the term about 25 years ago. Evergreen revolution defined it as productivity in perpetuity without ecological harm. Now, coming back to the situation today in the farm areas, there are enormous problems the farmers are facing. One from meteorological factors, marketing factors, and we have not provided the kind of support system. For example, insurance, crop insurance. Hardly 4 to 5% of the farmers are covered by insurance out of 115
That's
million.
That's also not very comprehensive
families.
Insurance.
Yes, it's complex. We have not developed one which suits our own condition. We try to extrapolate urban insurance, rural insurance. We should have different pattern. Credit system is all right, but credit system, we all know now the defects of the credit system, which forces the farmer. It is not a holistic credit system. If you give a crop loan, the farmer requires also, we found in areas where acute agrarian distress, 30 to 40% of the loan goes for health purposes. Because the doctor, the public systems have collapsed, the public health systems. They have to go to a private doctor. Even injection costs you 25, 30 rupees and so on. So the farmer is in acute distress. And fortunately now a revival of farming has started with public policies more relevant to it. But above all, I think our bureaucratic approach to farmers, even today I find in Krishi Bhavan, farmers are referred to as beneficiaries of the program. I say you and I, if we won't exist today, I cannot be talking to you, but for the fact that the farmers who produce food for us, the animals can't produce. Animals can only eat grains and produce animal products. Therefore, our whole mindset, the urban mindset to farmers.
Farmer is the life support system, actually.
And again I've said, Padma awards you give to dancers, musicians, cricketers, they're all important and nothing wrong with them. But even by mistake, don't give it to a farmer. You don't have a recognition. Shows the mindset of the country at a higher level, at a political level. Although you are a political leader, I am sorry to say this, they just don't say words, Kisan and so on, but then it does not reflect.
It has become a cliche.
It is not an emotional feeling towards the farmer. It is not emotional.
Doctor, one lacuna that we always find at the policy level is that the over-obsession with credit, either credit in terms of giving more loans and saying that we are increased our credit in 5 years, doubled it, or giving loan waivers that we did. But credit is only one of the inputs. In fact, the farmers need credit undoubtedly, but not the only credit which actually help him happen. So you think this over-obsession with credit alone has not helped us to really look at the picture in the total holistic manner, and we ignored the other key inputs, whether it's seeds, whether it is fertilizers, whether it is insecticides, pesticides, or whether it is insurance, whether it is marketing support, whether it is making sure that a farmer's family also has to be taken into account, and therefore we should provide social support. Is this something which happened because of our over-obsession?
I think I entirely agree with you. Both the National Commission on Agriculture of the 70s, first chaired by Shri Subramaniam and then by Nathuram Mishraji towards the latter part of it, we recommended a triad of relationship: credit, insurance and inputs. The three: credit linked insurance, so that credit is taken care of, and then the credit goes to buy the needed inputs. Today you can use techniques like smart cards and so on. Credit need not be given as cash. You can give it in the form of a method by which the inputs could be realized. Now, we never did it. Credit was all the three functioned by different agencies. Even the National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, which was set up for agriculture and rural development, later on was saddled with so many other responsibilities. When I was chairing the National Commission on Farmers, in our discussion in almost all parts of the country with farmers, they said we want a bank for agriculture who understand the Kisans, a bank for Kisans and for Krishi, rather than so many other RIDF, many other responsibilities which are there. They are important, not that they are not important. And NABARD has been doing an excellent work, I am not commenting. But people want a special understanding of the needs and problems of farmers, which is now slowly arising largely from the analysis of the cause of suicides. It is unfortunate, but Tata Institute of Social Sciences, so many Indira Gandhi Institute at Goregaon and so on, they have all produced reports which shows the need for a more holistic approach, a systems approach to the problems of the needs of the farmers. So even credit, unless it is a whole looking after health, some consumption needs, and also the other thing which we should realize is small and marginal farmers, who constitute 80% of our farming setup, who are now covered by the loan waiver, they have no holding capacity. They have no storage capacity. The moment they harvest the crop, they want money. That is why wheat and rice today, if the Punjab farmers have brought all their wheat, because cash and carry, they want money immediately. Now we have no system in other crops which provide that kind of support, of pulses, of oil seeds and so on. They sell it at a distress. At the time of harvest, the price is low. Within 2 months, I have known of experiments in this country by social people who have just they have told the farmers, I give you 50% at the time of harvest. They store the material, groundnut for example. 3 months later, they are able to sell it at 50% more price than what was given to the farmer. That is what we can now call the futures market and so on. Those are useful for those who have holding capacity. Our farmers don't have the holding capacity, so we must give them fair price. The Commission on Costs and Prices was giving the whole total cost of production, C2, plus 15%. In which industry you have a 15% margin? If it is a medical, pharmaceutical industry, it will be 500%. Without that, they can't survive.
And there is a margin of error also when you actually have miscalculated.
Because you have a same from Kanyakumari to Kuttanad in Kerala, where paddy cultivation is below the sea level. You have the same prices. So that is why I am saying the lack of understanding of the diversity, the need for not a rigid approach, the diversity approaches. I am happy to say for the first time the Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana, which has 25,000 crores, for the first time has left to the states to do district level planning.
Customize it according
to
local
needs. Some degree of freedom, some degree of flexibility.
Doctor, actually the other issue now, in fact there was a very interesting report which just UNESCO has just published or is going to be published, which talks about whatever benefit that we accrued as a world as a whole in terms of new technology, etc., it will peter off, because now it looks like that soil, the water and issues like that are really coming to fore. So they are really cautioned that probably the overuse of technology, over exploitation of land as a resource, and then trying to put too much of water and trying to be doing very extensive agriculture. So it's something which we really need to be cautious about. Very true.
Part of it again, wrong public policy of giving free electricity and so on, so that people have been pumping out groundwater. Today the farmers themselves realize, they always say, I don't want free, but I want regular and fixed assured time power. And assured power. That's what I want and so on. Now it is true, both land mining has taken place. Again, public policy was wrong, only giving subsidy to urea, one component nitrogen, not even phosphorus and potash, and 10 other micronutrients which are needed, so that farmers today, there's a feeling that we must give them money instead of giving subsidy to the fertilizer company. If we give to the money to the farmers, they can buy biofertilizers, they can buy organic manures, they can buy compost, they can include, because soil organic matter is so low in most parts of our country, and iron, zinc, iodine, many of those boron.
So we need to really re-look at the public policy to make this happen again, to make sure that we continue to benefit from it.
We must look at soil health in its totality and improvement of the health. soil health cards.
Doctor, now it looks like that the agriculture crisis, though now very prevalent in India, is gripping the whole world, because all the countries of the world are saying that will not allow exports and will ease imports. So in fact there seems to be a new World Trade Organization which is coming into play without WTO being there, which each country is saying please import more and will not allow the export. So is this something which is like a new food crisis emerging in the world, or is it something a passing phase?
New crisis caused partly by the escalation in cost of petroleum products, the diversion of corn and other grains for ethanol, alcohol production, the biofuel, land biofuel. As a result of it, grain like wheat is being diverted as animal feed. Larger quantities of grain are going to animal feed. So you have a constellation of factors, global factors. I have always written and said that our food security must be based on homegrown food, and I repeat again, for the simple reason, 30 years ago when I said it must be homegrown food, it was because food is not food in this country. It is the basis of the livelihood of a majority of the population in the country. Therefore, if you don't buy your own food and buy from somewhere cheaper because cheaper, you are killing your own industry. And this is why it is important for us to look at this problem. We must become self-reliant in terms of food, because whatever you can live without, you can't live without food. Food riots are happening in many parts of the world, other countries, because price of rice has become 60, 70 rupees per kilogram. It's going up still. How do you eat 1 kilogram of rice? 60 or 70 rupees. Even our own neighboring countries like Bangladesh, unfortunately, very high priced. And I think there is a moral here. This moral must be understood by the political world, the media world, and the public world, the professional world. All of us should understand this, that we must look after our agriculture. How do you look after agriculture? You have to look after our farmers, who are the backbone of the agriculture system. And a farmer-centric policy is necessary today. In technology development, pro-small farmer policy. There are also some who believe that large companies can do. They can provide some hybrid. For example, take a simple thing like cotton, BT cotton. BT cotton originally was costing 1,500 rupees per kilogram and so on. Now it has come down a bit because the trade value has come down. But on the other hand, if you develop a BT cotton variety, then small farmers can keep their own seed. If you have got a high yielding, resistant, borer resistant, bollworm resistant variety, they can keep his own seed. So our public research must deal with pro-small farmer approach to
also
research.
Promote agro-biodiversity?
Yes, agro-biodiversity, and then seed production should be done, in my view. Companies can do, the breeder seed can be produced by ICR, agriculture universities. The foundation seed can be produced by companies, progressive farmers. Certified seed or also by growers. But then finally, more and more what we now call self-help groups, because we have a large number of women. They have, in fact, I remember 1970 when C.T. Patel in Gujarat developed the first Shankar Kapas, cotton hybrid from Gujarat, the hybrid one. Foreigners thought, you are making hybrid seed by hand pollination? Are you kidding? Once American scientist told me when I took him to the field, how much area can you cover? And they were amazed. With hand pollinated and hand emasculated seed, we could cover a couple of million hectares.
Probably they didn't know our ancestry.
Our tribal women are so good. And we now see with our Gyan Chaupal movement, what I
think this is our real traditional knowledge and expertise and wisdom. But tell me, how relevant is the size of population to this food security issue? Because for a long time we are thinking that technology can expand food production unlimited, and therefore global population can continue to grow. And in fact, there is a very questionable theory that is being circulated in India called we have premium on population because of demographic dividend that are going to come. But where population is now posing a serious threat, because we cannot have 9, 10, 11 billion people for the whole world, or for India 1.8 billion people. So you think how relevant is context of population to food security?
Well, population is a key factor. The population supporting capacity of the ecosystems is very important. Any ecosystem can support this many and not more. For example, a ton of wheat or grain can support 5 people, not more than that. Water, already we have enormous water scarcity in the country. People are feeling the pinch and so on. I think population policies, if they are not looked after, And it has to come from self-awareness. Today our people...
But we need to control our population.
Through...
And how relevant is water, doctor?
Water is a key factor, because without water you can do nothing. Even I have always defined food security as economic, social and physical access to balanced diet and clean drinking water. People think only of grains. If you, without water, whether to cook or to drink, you can't have safe drinking water. Water is going to be our key constraint. Fortunately, our country, if you took at local total water, particularly the rainfall is not too bad in aggregate. Sometimes very highly skewed. It comes in a few days. The late Anil Agarwal used to say, our rainfall is in 100 hours a year, all our rain comes. So that is why important to harvest that water, store it. For example, this year, our forecast, the medium-term forecast of our India Meteorological Department shows we'll have a normal monsoon.
But that worries me, because when they make a forecast, then always there is a result is opposite of that.
We have, of course, healthy skepticism about forecasts, but nevertheless, today the technology of forecasting is improving. Yeah. There are a number of multiple parameters.
Tell me now, this globalization context, how relevant is possibility, or rather, how potential is the possibility of India collaborating with, say, African countries, India collaborating with Latin American countries, particularly, no more for industry, no more for services, but only for agriculture and food.
If you look at Africa and Latin America, along with India and our neighboring countries, we are the home of most of the food plants. Africa is the home, whatever we call bajra, jowar, all of them came from Africa. Maize, potato, tomato, all of them came from the Latin American continent. Rice is our crop, of course. Therefore, what they now call, third world, within third world, developing countries partnership is exceedingly important agriculture, because the industrialized countries' technology is not relevant to us anymore. Particularly, the high cost of energy has shown that energy-rich technology is not viable at all. We have large amount of animal power. Our bullock power is enormous in this country, and we must go to low cost, locally available, renewable, what sometimes is called low, external input, sustainable agriculture. All the three continents, Africa, India, and Latin America, we share a common genetic biodiversity rich countries. We are all biodiversity rich countries. The Rift Valley in Africa, which is very poor, poverty stricken people. The prosperity of nature and the poverty of people strike you on the face. We have not converted our natural resources into wealth and jobs. Our future lies there. Our future lies in converting.
So we need to collaborate more with them.
We should much have active collaboration.
Doctor, how optimistic you are about the future of Indian agriculture and the food sector as a whole?
Well, I'm not either a born optimist or pessimist. What I would like to be known as a realist. I have great optimism now. I think for the first time I find now there is a great deal of understanding of agricultural problems. Unfortunately, a tragedy also leads to an understanding. A calamity leads to an opportunity also. People have started realizing the real role of agriculture. Even those formerly who are thinking that we can buy food anywhere, they are now awakening. The wake-up call has been given by recent development. And if you have the public policy rights, and if you have institutional structures, what I would like to see a small farm management revolution, because the small farm is very good for intensive, ecologically sustainable agriculture. But a small farmer is a euphemism for a farmer who has no money, who has no risk-taking capacity, who has to go to the money lender. People make a mistake between the small farm and the small farmer. By overcoming the problems of the small farmer, we can maximize the power of the small farm. Look at other countries. After all, China has a small farm, even smaller than us. Look at Taiwan. Look at even Japan. All of them are small farms, but they have given the power of scale through organization. The small farm management revolution should come where we encourage farmers in an area to cooperate. You're not made to cooperate with society. Cooperate in water management, pest management, post-harvest technology. We must produce services. For example, the government started a few years ago the agri-clinics and agri-business centers. Mr. Yashwant Sinha was then the finance minister when it was started, provided an opportunity to farm graduates
For them
and home science
become
graduates
entrepreneurs.
to become entrepreneurs. That is why in the Farmers Commission we said
So
every scholar must be an entrepreneur.
So you think we'll be able to tide over this crisis that is facing today?
I am quite optimistic we will tide over, provided the interest in agriculture sustain.
Yeah.
It should not be because today we
should
are
not
in
die down
difficulty.
with the farmers dying
Yes.
ending.
Look at the
The
farmers.
interest should not die down with the farmers stop
Give
dying.
them a social prestige.
I know.
Give them, for example, government has started a Genome Savior Award for tribal women and men who conserve
So I think
biodiversity.
we should try to build up such issues.
We should
Doctor,
give
tell me-
more recognition.
I agree with you. Doctor, tell me, you are only 83 years young, and in fact, you just talked about the new slogan that we should try to talk about is evergreen revolution. But how you manage to remain evergreen? What is the secret of it?
Well, largely because I think your thoughts are good and you find doing something useful to others always keeps you young, and it's very important to have a mission in life. You have a mission as long as your energy persists. Unfortunately, I have a wonderful family who are all very encouraging. My wife and 3 daughters, they have also followed some of the principles in life that, I always quote Mother Teresa, who once said, somebody went and asked, Mother, you are doing a great job, but your work is a drop in the ocean. Apparently the mother said, yes, my son, my work is a drop in the ocean, but the ocean will be less without that drop.
Oh.
I would like to see that in some way the drop of work which you do makes a little difference in the other people's life.
I'm sure that will happen, Dr. Swaminathan, and thank you for joining us in this program, and I don't know how to really thank you. And this was Dr. M.S. Swaminathan talking to us about how green revolution now should be converted to evergreen revolution. On an optimistic note, that this will really happen, that India will have evergreen revolution and Dr. Swaminathan will remain evergreen to motivate many others to remain green like him. On this optimistic note, let me bid you goodbye.